Have you ever stood in a room full of people laughing and talking, yet felt like you were watching a movie in a language you don't speak? It's that strange, heavy feeling where you're physically present, but mentally you're on a completely different frequency. You might look at the people around you and wonder what's wrong with you, or why you can't just plug in like everyone else seems to. Well, I want to tell you right now that you aren't broken and you aren't antisocial. There is actually a fascinating psychological reason why your brain might be choosing to stay an observer rather than a participant. And today, we're going to decode those deep signals. The first thing we have to understand is that humans are naturally tribal creatures. For thousands of years, being part of a group meant survival. And for many people today, things like sports or office gossip act as modern versions of those tribes. When most people engage in these group activities, their brains release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which makes them feel safe and connected. But if you feel lonely in a crowd, it's often because you have what psychologists call a lower tribal instinct. Your identity isn't tied to being part of a we. You are more individualistic, and you don't feel the need to belong to something loud just to feel complete. While others are getting a dopamine hit from the noise and the shared excitement, your brain might actually be viewing that same environment as a battery drain. This leads us to something called optimal arousal theory. We all have a specific level of stimulation that makes us feel good. For some, a crowded room is the perfect quote-unquote charger. But for you, that same room might be pushing you into quote-unquote survival mode without you even realizing it. When the noise is too high and the conversations are too shallow, your nervous system can start to feel like a calm pond that someone just dropped a massive stone into. You aren't being judgmental of the small talk. It's just that your brain is designed for depth over noise. You're likely a highly associative thinker, meaning your memory and your interest are fueled by patterns, emotions, and deep stories, not by semantically empty labels or surface-level chatter. In fact, you might be experiencing what's known as surface-level fatigue. Think about the baker-baker paradox. It's a study that shows we remember someone is a baker, a job with meaning, smell, and warmth, much better than if their last name is just Baker, a label with no meaning. In a crowded room, most interactions are just labels. They are the order of service rather than the actual funeral, the real, textured stuff of life. Because your brain is an efficient machine, it prioritizes things that mean something. If the conversation doesn't have a hook into your values or your curiosity, your brain essentially refuses to babysit the information, leaving you feeling disconnected and bored. There's also a good chance that you're someone who reads the emotional temperature of a room rather than just the furniture. If you've gone through a lot in your life, you may have developed a high level of hypervigilance or aggressive empathy. You aren't just hearing words. You're sensing the texture of the silence, the forced smiles, and the shifts in tone. When you're that tuned in to the underlying signals, the performance of a social gathering can feel exhausting. You're editing yourself in real time, wondering if you're making enough eye contact, or if you're about to be interrupted, which psychologists call the next-in-line effect. You're so busy navigating the internal weather that you can't find the bridge to the people standing right in front of you. So, if you feel this way, remember that your home is likely your sacred sanctuary because it's the only place where the world stops demanding a performance from you. To you, silence feels like oxygen, and that is a beautiful thing. You don't need to force yourself to be the loudest person in the room. Often, the person who is silent is the one who is actually observing, processing, and connecting the dots. Real intelligence isn't about how many people you can talk to at once. It's about how deeply you can understand the world when the noise dies down. If this resonated with you, I want you to do something small to reclaim your energy today. Drop a comment below with the phrase, depth over noise, so I know you're part of this community of deep thinkers. If you want to understand more about why your brain operates on a different frequency, hit that subscribe button and join us as we continue to decode the psychology of the real version of you. I'll see you in the next one.